What's up guys, today we're going to be talking about my first 24 hours with the Yuxin HuangLong. So this is Yuxin's new flagship cube. It comes in two models. They have a non-magnetic and a magnetic version. Today I'm going to be talking about the magnetic version, especially because the magnetic version is only $25, which is ridiculous. That's cheap to begin with for most magnetic cubes. So one of the first things I noticed with this cube is that it is really fast. Out of the box, it was very fast with no lube, completely dry, very fast cube, and even after putting a lot of lube in it, it's still really fast. I put so much more weight 5 in this cube than I usually do, and I also tried silk, and it's still really fast. I have been overshooting on this cube since I got it. It's a great cube, but I've just been overshooting a ton. And now one of the designs they added in it is these ball bearings in the tips of the corners. And from what I understand, that's supposed to add weight to the rotation of each turn. So the cube isn't actually any heavier, but those ball bearings supposedly add weight to the turn, which kind of makes the turn carry more, or makes it kind of feel as if it would be a heavier cube. I've tried taking mine out just to see how the cube would perform, and it does overshoot less. I still overshoot and it's still pretty fast, but it does happen less. One thing I noticed is that I do think I kind of prefer having them in there. Right now I have them out and that's what you're seeing here. But after messing with it, I kind of want to put them back in. I'm going to have to play with it. It's really early to say which I prefer, but there's just this weight that it adds that just feels kind of nice when you turn. One really nice thing about this cube is that the stickerless shades are by far and beyond the best stickerless shades I have seen on any 3x3. It's not even a question. Part of my problem with normal stickerless cubes is my type of color blindness is really bad for the green on yellow on standard cubes, so I have a really hard time using those. And the green is just a bit darker. It's kind of like they took all the shades and just made them a bit darker. The red looks really great, the blue is fantastic, and green is just darkened just enough so that it doesn't really blend in with that yellow. Huge fan of these shades, and I really hope other companies will copy this. Like literally just blatantly rip this off, because it would be amazing. Now, as I was talking about the overshooting, I definitely think this cube is geared towards people who have a lighter turning style. It's if you have a heavier turning style or more aggressive, it's not that you can't use it, I think it'll work, but with how easy it is to overshoot, I feel like this is perfect for someone with a light turning style. There's just not a lot of resistance when you try and make it turn. The turns just kind of carry through perfectly. The cube is also quite stable. It is more flexible than your standard cube, but I do think it is still very stable. One thing that might help mine even more is if I tighten it a little bit, that might help with the overshooting. But in general, I think the cube is quite stable for the flexibility that it has. And now on the cube being flexible, the corner cutting is fantastic. It's pretty much on par with every other cube you see on the market. The small cuts are very easy to do. You can do 45 for regular cuts. You can do almost line to line for reverse cuts. Corner cutting is great on this cube, just like all the other ones. Now, one problem I did have with this cube is within my first probably 2 hours of having the cube, I did have two magnets in one edge come loose. I started hearing the rattling and then eventually figured out what the problem was, and it's that the magnets came loose. So I wasn't being very hard on the cube. I was doing pretty standard solving. I never dropped the cube. So I don't know if maybe I just happened to get a defective one or if this is going to be a quality control issue for Yuxin. I don't really know. I have two, so I'm going to play with both of them, and then I'm sure we'll hear from other people, but my guess is that I just kind of had a fluke and got a bad one, but we'll see later on. So now it's a little hard to describe how this cube feels. I think the best way to describe it would maybe be kind of like a GTS2 and a Volk Power M. The plastic feels kind of really smooth like that Volk Power M feel does, and it's also very snappy with each turn. Corner cutting, you definitely feel each snap. It's very firm and you can tell it's happening. So it's kind of hard to describe the cube, but I feel like maybe a GTS2 and Volk Power M is the best description that I can give it. Another thing to note is that it is a pretty hard cube to disassemble and reassemble. And by that, I basically just mean taking out the first edge and putting the last edge back in. The torpedoes make it pretty hard to put these back in, and you have to use quite a bit of pressure. There's definitely a couple times where I thought I was going to break the cube, or at least thought I was close. So just something to be aware of. Overall, I think this cube is absolutely fantastic based on my first impressions. Obviously, things may potentially change as time goes on, but for $25, if you're looking for a magnetic cube, this is by far the best one you're gonna get for that price. I think this cube is gonna be all over the place when it comes out. I think a lot of people are gonna love it. I think it has some really serious potential to be a main killer for a lot of people. I'm already very interested in this cube, and I think it's fantastic. So for $25, you really can't go wrong. If you're looking for a magnetic cube, this is probably the one I would recommend. So yeah, that's pretty much all my first impressions for the first 24 hours. Like I said, I think it's an absolutely great cube right now, and I think a lot of people are absolutely gonna love it. If you guys want to see a full review, stay tuned to the Cubicle.us YouTube channel, and we will have one there in probably a week and a half. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.